Yes.
tries to buy the vote, death or no death,
Right.
based on the public's perception today, what would happen?
I think it would be close. I think it would
Well,
be
you
close. I think it would be closer now than it was the last time the issue came up
I think it
before
would
the
be
electorate, because
I
the
think
electorate last time was overwhelmingly in favor of it. But I don't think it's true
I think
anymore.
it's just the opposite. I think it would be more in favor of the death penalty than they were the last time.
Okay, Solomon, get out your checkbook.
So-
I'll get out my checkbook, and we'll see what happens.
And does it really matter? I mean, do we not buy the yogurt in the market because on November 10th of this year, which I think is today, or November 9th,
It's today, yeah.
the yogurt suddenly expired, or the medicine says it's good until the 10th? Come on, everybody in their right mind knows that you can eat that stuff almost forever.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
Oh, yeah.
Would you eat yogurt that's
I would
been
eat
expired?
it if it expired on the 10th. I'd still be eating
Well,
it on the
that's
11th.
today.
On the 11th.
Oh, God.
And if the pills said they expired on the 11th, I'd still be.
You don't throw that stuff away?
No.
If it were sodium thiopental, you would.
Nah, come on. It's time to get it on. They've been sitting on death row for 20 some odd years.
There are people who are sitting on death row for longer than 20
and
years.
we're housing
there are
them.
people who ask to be sentenced to death so that they can sit on death row because it's a nicer place than death row's a nicer place than spending one's entire life in the general population of a state prison.
I know it's not appropriate, and I'll probably get a bunch of
and the
calls and
food's better,
emails.
too.
But if we need to cut the budget situation, and we want to cut, why don't we just execute? Once they've had their due process, gone through all the
Well, you know, if you
systems-
really want to spend money,
No, I'm saying, why don't we just execute the people on death row who have gone through the whole process?
yeah. Well, that's the thing. What's the whole process?
Well, it's over and over and over again, and they're still there.
But
and
you
their
ask a very important question. What's the whole process? They have due process rights all over the place. State court, federal court, state court.
But you're now done.
Supreme
okay?
Court.
You're done.
Then you're executed. But only if you've got enough sodium thiopental.
Well, then put them back in the gas chamber.
I thought they had problems with the gas chamber.
Not in California. It seemed to work the limited time we used it.
Yeah,
This is supposed to be a.
I thought we
remember
couldn't
the
use it
last
anymore.
time around they were going to give the option to somebody. You could either have yay or nay.
Yeah, and that ran into a legal problem.
Well, I mean, you and I have gone over this thing for years and years and years.
Yes,
But
it's a worthwhile subject talking about.
I think life is an important subject, but there are people who are so bad and do such heinous crimes that they need to suffer with their life.
And there are people. Well, I disagree.
And the pain and suffering that the victims go through is nothing.
I come at it from a very, very different perspective. My perspective is,
Oh my goodness! It's the 10th today, and it ran out on the 10th. We can't execute anybody.
that's
If
not my
that's the
perspective.
legal argument you have, that
Well, you know what? That's a legal argument that's going to win in court. Doesn't matter whether I forward it or not, since I don't have anybody on death row that I represent.
Thank goodness they're running
But-
out of legal arguments.
But they don't. But you see, they don't. And justices at the appellate level are very interested in making sure that no one gets executed until every single legal avenue has been traveled. And that's the way the system is set up. If you want to change the system, you're going to have to devise an entirely different system that, again, is going to have to go through the judicial
Or
system.
rendition. We could just send them out of California.
There was somebody who was doing that. It was a judge who was, actually, was into California. It was
That's
out
what
of
Arizona-
Florida and into California.
All right, we'll never answer. Outsource. Outsource to foreign
China,
countries.
you know, they do execute people in China.
Well, they execute people all over the place.
Not all over the place. That's part of my argument. A lot of the
All right,
civilized world
let's move
doesn't.
on. You're.
I'm right. Okay, what you got?
Oh, I'm gonna listen.
How
to
about
you.
this one? You want to listen to me some more?
1-800-405-4222 if you're having problems with your driver's license, if you're having problems with your landlord, if you're having problems in a lawsuit you're in, if you're having a small claims court problem, if you've gone to a doctor and you went in for a little straightening of your left finger and you came out with your
Wait, most people have
disfigured-
5 left fingers.
disfigured arm, what can you do with it? If you went to a lawyer and you went in and got a divorce and you found out that all the community property that you thought was being given to you ends up in two separate documents, both signed but different language in it.
How about this one? Yeah, like the Dodgers. How about this one? You go through a divorce, you get a final decree, or you're told that you got a final decree. 10 years go by, you're remarried, you have some kids, and you find out that you were never divorced. Now what do you do? Actually, what do you do?
You get ask the two ladies to move back in together.
I don't think so. I don't know about that.
So,
how about this one?
well, let's go back to McDonald's.
Oh, sure.
Because we never got to that. McDonald's.
We never answered the question.
McDonald's.
We never asked the question.
Giving the little Happy Meal toys away.
Yes.
So they've got this. Was it San Francisco's got this new ordinance now?
San Francisco and some other locations.
It says that if it's more than 550 calories in any one of the items, you can't give the toys away.
Right. And the theory behind that is?
Well, I don't know what the theory behind it is, because there's a professor who went on a Twinkie diet, and he ate only junk food.
Yes.
And he left his junk food up to about 1,600 calories
Yes.
instead of 2,500. And he lost, in a fairly short period of time, 27 pounds.
Just by eating Twinkies.
Just by eating Twinkies and other
But did
kinds
he eat a
of
lot of Twinkies?
He ate up to 1,500 calories, but only junk food.
But what is that? How many Twinkies in 1,500
I know
calories?
that.
Do you know?
I know that would be 3 Big Macs probably,
Oh, God.
maybe 2.5. But so there is some beneficial purpose for junk food besides filling you up.
Yes.
It is part of your diet program.
Right.
I thought this was.
That's pretty interesting.
So do you think that we should stop luring kids into fast food places by giving them a toy?
You know, it's an interesting thought, because it's not just the Happy Meal. There are a lot of products like that. A lot of products advertise heading toward kids. They're directed at children,
Well,
and what they're selling is not necessarily good for the children.
Yeah, but so isn't it the family's obligation to protect the child, and isn't it government's obligation under most circumstances where they have parents who are not convicted felons or child molesters, etc., to let the family take care of the kids, what kind of bike they're going to ride, what they wear to school, what they eat, etc.
Of course.
So then what is government doing banning Happy Meals, or what you can eat or what you can't eat, or, it's too much government. Too much government.
I think I might.
Too much government.
I think I might agree with you.
Wow, that's the first time in 20 years.
It's 30 years.
And for those who are out there who think there should be more government, no matter how you voted in the election, and this was one of the largest votes we've had in a long time.
Yeah, big turnout.
I think personally, publicly, and non-professionally, that in terms of what we're talking about government, I mean, we have so much regulation on everything that we ought to let the marketplace take care of what's right and what's wrong. And we ought to limit the use of government regulations to things that are serious and impending dangers.
I tend to agree with you. I think there are things that the government is trying to regulate that it's difficult to regulate. It's not necessary to regulate. Should be left in the hands of others. And this is an era of failing to live up to one's responsibilities and pointing the finger somewhere else.
Now I got you, because this is just the way I think you would say. And I think there are certain areas that are so bad, like smoking. Everybody wanted to smoke, but when they started putting the smoking regulations, you and I both said that it's harmful, it ought to be regulated, it ought to be out of kids' hands, the nicotine's dangerous, it's habit-forming, it's addicting. So how are you suddenly saying that when you tell me that we can't regulate
the difference between food and cigarettes, I think, is extremely significant.
Well, one causes cancer, allegedly, and one causes heart attacks and strokes by clogging your arteries. I would think they'd both be probably pretty dangerous.
I can't agree, and I think that there's a tradition in the country of regulating things like alcohol. We almost started to regulate marijuana instead of just prohibit it, and also cigarettes. And by the way, we have federal officials, or just today actually, unveiled plans to require, I'm reading from the Washington Post, plans to require cigarette packs and ads to carry dramatically bigger and much more